Shalom. First off, I want to give all praise, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakah Kadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. Salutations to the hopeful elect that are scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. And to all my brothers out here preaching this truth to you, I say Shalom. This is Amatazar from the Chicago camp coming back at you again with another lesson entitled, Don't Eat the Cupcakes. So, what I want to do now is just give it the water to the brother um, with the page Arrows of Indignation 144. That's where I first learned of this story. Okay. And so basically, I'm going to make this a two-part. I want to read the article from The Guardian, all right, from U.S. News, all right, and then I want to show you the video that the brother had on his page, and then on the second part, I'll go into the scriptures. All right, because Esau, Edom, right? The Lord said He hated Esau. Now we're just gonna look at this. Now this devil, all right, who was he was part of the deputy's office, so he's a law enforcement, and he was a leader of a TAC team. Okay, so him and his wife basically was raping kids and stuff and videotaping it, and this devil was ejaculating on cupcakes that this woman would bring to the school and feed the children. Okay, now as a parent, right, we don't think about telling your kids, hey, don't eat anything that the teacher brings. If the teacher brings cupcakes, don't eat it, right? And this devil is at home ejaculating his semen, all right, onto, I guess, the icing or whatever, and and putting it on the goddamn cupcakes and having the children eat them. Okay, this is just absolutely ridiculous, right? But the Lord said that Esau is profane. Okay, he's the most profane. All right, and we're gonna get into to some scriptures. All right, so on the first part, I'm gonna read this article, and then I'm gonna show the video, and then on part two, I'll come back with the scriptures. So let's read it together. It says, former Louisiana police deputy given 100-year sentence for sex crimes. Dennis Perkins, 47, to spend the rest of his life in prison after pleading guilty to a slew of crimes, including child sexual abuse. So the story is by Ramon Antonio Vargas, okay, and it's dated Saturday, January 7th, 2023. A former Louisiana sheriff's deputy has been given a 100-year prison sentence after pleading guilty to a spree of sexual abuse crimes, including child abuse. Dennis Perkins, 47, will spend the rest of his life in prison after he pleaded guilty to a slew of offenses ranging from rape, child abuse images, and video voyeurism to contaminating food with a bodily substance, authorities said. He has no possibility of being released on parole after state prosecutors struck a deal with him to plead guilty to avoid a trial that would have required young victims to testify about traumas they had endured, Louisiana's Advocate newspaper reported. Before his arrest in 2019, Perkins had spent 17 years as a deputy with the sheriff's office of Livingston Parish, outside Louisiana's capital of Baton Rouge. His now ex wife, Cynthia Perkins, formerly a public school teacher, was also arrested. Okay, so she was the school teacher. He's nutting on the cupcakes. All right, take them to school, feed them to the fucking kids. Okay, nasty ass bitch. They both deserve death. She pleaded guilty to reduced charges in exchange for a 41-year sentence as part of an agreement that would have made it mandatory for her to testify against Dennis Perkins if he stood trial. All right, so she accepted a 41-year sentence. All right, that was reduced charges. Okay, so they had so much stuff that uh, her reduced deal was 41 years. Okay, this says the Perkinses. Look at this red man. That's Esau. The Perkinses fell under scrutiny after a trip to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, An IP address linked to their pair's home in the Baton Rouge suburb of Denham Springs led authorities to seize thousands of videos and photos. Investigators arrested the pair in October 2019. The bulk of the charges against the pair involved a child younger than 13. The couple were charged with rape and attempted rape and sexual battery and video voyeurism and production of child abuse images during several months in 2019, the advocate reported. All right, this is his co conspirator, his wife, okay? Esau Edom as well, okay? Prosecutors did not disclose how the Perkins how the Perkinses knew the child. Dennis Perkins faced nearly 80 felony charges after his arrest at one point and was fired from the sheriff's office. Cynthia Perkins, who resigned her teaching position and filed for divorce after her arrest, was initially charged with more than 70 counts before negotiating a plea deal. After pleading guilty in Livingston State Court Tuesday, Dennis Perkins, once the commander of the Livingston Sheriff's Office Special Tactical Team, apologized. "I would like to say I'm sorry," Perkins said. "Jesus Christ has forgiven me." Okay, well, maybe Jesus Christ has forgiven you, but Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai has not. I'm grateful for that. I hope and pray that I hope and pray that anybody that this has affected would also find forgiveness and healing through Jesus Christ. All right. A woman who gave a victim impact statement in court during Dennis Perkins' hearing questioned whether he cared about anyone besides himself, citing his sick, deplorable actions. Okay? So this woman said that his actions were sick and deplorable. And that's right. They were sick and deplorable. All right. And we're going to get into that. All right. It says, "You will no longer have control over your victims anymore," the woman reportedly said. "I'm so thankful I don't have to sit in this court with you or your attorney again. Have a nice life in prison." All right. Another woman, Melanie Curtin, has been serving a life sentence since last year after a jury convicted her of helping Dennis Perkins rape and film a woman who was unconscious in 2014. So they was just unconscious with it, okay? They was raping unconscious women and everything. So, hey, this is Esau Edom, right? And so that's what we do. We go into the scriptures and we we take these characteristics, okay? Because the Bible is not going to come out and say Esau Edom is the white man. That's not what the Bible is going to say. The Bible is going to give you the characteristics of these people, all right? Because it's not about skin color per se, but because there are some Israelites that are going to look just like these people, all right? But overall, as a race, this is who he is, all right? He is the so-called white man, all right? Are there some Israelites that will look white like that? Okay, or have that same complexion? Of course there is. Because it's more about seed than it is about the complexion. All right. It's the same way with Yahushai. Yahushai in Revelations 1:14, it talks about his complexion. Okay. Does it mean that you can't have tares with the same complexion? No, it doesn't. It doesn't. Let's go ahead and get into this video.
The Factor Uncensored. There is so much to unpack here. Sad, disturbing, and enraging all at the same damn time. Former Louisiana deputy in Feliciana Parish, 46-year-old Dennis Parker is getting 100 years in prison. This is after he not only sexually assaulted and videotaped children. Parker, a deputy, also ejaculated on cupcakes that were taken to school and fed to students by his 37-year-old ex-wife, Cynthia Parker. She's a middle school teacher. Investigative reporter Chris Nakamoto from WBRZ in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, first broke this story and shared it with us here on The Factor 10 months ago. He joins us again with the update. So we know Deputy Dennis Perkins has now been sentenced. Tell us, first of all, before the sentencing, remind us of what he did and how disgusting he and his wife were.
What he did was absolutely deplorable. He was a deputy with the Livingston Parish Sheriff's Office who was raping children. He was downloading child pornography. His wife was a school teacher. He was ejaculating on pastries. She was serving them to her class. I mean, just type of things that you just wouldn't even imagine a human being could possibly do.
Do we know, and I mean, other than just being sick, why did they do this? Did they say why? Did they apologize? Did Dennis say, give us any reasoning why he would do such heinous crimes?
In court, he did address the victims when he pled guilty, and he did apologize and said that it was a very short statement, basically said, I've found forgiveness through Jesus Christ, and I hope other people can too. So he didn't really give any sort of reason as to why he did what he did, just such a very sick and twisted individual. He was charged with 78 different counts by the Louisiana Attorney General's office, and as part of this plea agreement, he only had to plead guilty to about 7 of those. But those 7 charges that he did plead guilty to will have him serving prison time for the rest of his life.
And we're talking about a 100-year sentence, right?
That's right.
And so how are the victims and their families reacting to all of this?
The victims and their families, obviously, they had to agree to this plea agreement by the Louisiana Attorney General's office that was awarded to Dennis Perkins. You have to face it, this saved them from a lengthy trial that probably would have gone on for 2 weeks. It saved them a lot of pain by having to go into the courtroom and see all of this video evidence. Of course, there was videos, there were pictures, all sorts of things that he had done. He had documented everything he did, which is how he was basically indicted and now convicted. And so this saved them from having to go through all of that pain and having to relive all of that again. It's honestly the most noble thing that he's done throughout this mess that has been exposed as to everything that he has done and is now convicted of.
Incredible. Now, what about his wife or ex-wife? I'm not sure what their status is now. Cynthia, who was the teacher.
So it is his ex-wife now. She filed for divorce while she was in prison, basically claiming coercion, that he coerced her into doing a lot of the things. She's also in prison, but possibly will have a shot at getting out at some point in her life. She'll probably serve between 40 and 50 years, and if she does make it that long, she would be very old when she winds up getting out of prison, probably in her 80s or 90s. But the whole reasoning why they had filed for divorce is she was going to testify against him at the trial that was supposed to begin. But now that he, went ahead and pled guilty, there was obviously no need for a trial. So her witness testimony was not needed. But the Louisiana Attorney General's office had her in their back pocket if in case he had changed his mind and they needed to proceed with a trial. That was part of her plea agreement, that she was going to testify against him. And if she didn't, then her plea agreement could have been undone and revoked as well.
So this divorce was all to benefit her and her plea agreement, so she wouldn't spend more significant time locked behind bars.
Most likely, and obviously she was claiming coercion and things like that, but as part of her divorce, she filed for divorce pretty early on after the arrest. She wound up essentially saying, hey, I'm going to cooperate, I'm going to testify against them, and I believe that's probably why the AG's office went a little bit more lenient on her. But she was very much a party to all of this. I mean, she was also molesting children in a bathtub, from what the evidence were being told by our sources indicated. She also took those sweets that her husband had ejaculated on and served them to her class. So she certainly, there's a lot of outrage in the community as well that she even was offered a plea deal of any kind that would possibly allow her to see the light of day. But again, back to Dennis Perkins, he'll spend the rest of his life in prison. This case brings up just so many questions and really revelations that parents have to teach their kids. You know, you teach them to trust teachers and cops. And now what we're seeing in Louisiana with a teacher and a cop both going to prison for heinous crimes, it just shows you can't always trust the people that you teach your kids to trust.
And has the Livingston Parish Sheriff's Department issued any statements, said anything in reference to Dennis being a deputy there for so many years and not knowing, all of this going on right under their noses?
Initially, when this all came to light, they held a news conference that really didn't go well for the sheriff because instead of just basically distancing himself from this deputy, he called him a friend and a family member. And so the public was outraged by that, that you have a sheriff now calling this deputy a friend and a family member who is accused of the most outrageous crimes. And after his conviction, they didn't really say much.
Okay. All right. So that was the story on that. Now, here's the thing. Okay? The thing is Esau, right? Esau is so offended at the fact that, he was raping little girl, raping children, videotaping, but they're most offended about the fact that he nutted on those cupcakes, right? And served it to their children. So Esau made sure that he wasn't going to see the light of day, right? Because their children, okay, ate some cupcakes that he ejaculated on. But in Chicago, Laquan McDaniel, an Edomite cop, emptied a clip. I think it was 16 shots or something into this man's body on camera. All right, on camera. And that officer's already out. Okay? That officer's already out. I don't even think he did 5 years. Okay? I don't think he actually did 5 years. But I'll come back with some more on that in part 2. All right, Shalom. I pray that this lesson was edifying. Till part 2.